The Neue Schule Turtle Tactio Balding.
Hi everybody, this is the Turtle Tactio, and the Turtle Tactio is second in the Turtle Neue Schule collection. The turtle top was actually the first, and again this was developed through research done by the Neue Schule Academy, and it's based on the working angle, and there is a full video on the working angle, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. However, briefly, what we've done is, in order to optimize on comfort and to ensure that the bit is flat between the tongue and the palate, we've reconfigured the bore axis. So in essence, what we've done is we've sent the bore hole through at a different angle, so the bit will actually remain like this on the floor of the mouth. The Turtle Tactio is actually a very clever design. It's an oval profile, and this means that we have more weight bearing surface down onto the tongue, and this gives us much lower pressure. We also have a much smaller lozenge in the centre, and again this can be very beneficial if you have a horse with narrow bars, and you can check this out for yourself. All you need to do is actually lift the tongue. The other benefit is the way it operates within the mouth, because it closes around the tongue, not dissimilar to how you would wrap your legs around the horse. And we do find that this really does help with directional control. The working angle of the Tactio is such that it actually doesn't rotate forwards, it remains much further back in the mouth. And this is very beneficial if you have a horse with a short smile. Now, by short smile, I mean short from the muzzle to the corner of the lip. It also proves extremely helpful if we have a horse with tongue evasions. For instance, if the horse is inclined to either draw the tongue back or even slip the tongue out to the side. We find that very often it will completely eradicate that little evasion. And again, if we just have a horse with an overactive, with a busy mouth, it can be very, very beneficial. The other thing that I find, and other riders do tell me, is the fact that they don't need to over tighten the cheek pieces. You know, we've all done it. If we have a horse with a very busy mouth, we'll automatically try and lift that bit further back in the mouth. And of course, when we do that, we actually put pressure not just over the pollen, you know, the TMJ and, you know, the corner of the lip. Now, once we've got that added pressure in the corner of the lip, we've actually masked our rein aids, and, you know, we're all working toward a softer, more refined aid, and a subtle little half halt, and the horse actually isn't going to feel it. So we often have, you know, huge benefits from the Tactio. I'm very briefly going to answer a frequently asked question, which is, what is the difference between the Turtle Tactio and the turtle top? But please bear in mind there is a full video going into much more detail. So in essence, the difference being the turtle top actually has a very uniform weight bearing surface down onto the floor of the mouth, whereas the Tactio utilizes the center of the tongue in order to reduce the pressure between the bars. And we often find if we have a horse that is very sensitive, it's stemming actually from the bar area. So we have a huge weight bearing surface, but we actually haven't got the bulk between the bars with the Tactio. So there we have it, the main difference. This is a very clever design, and it is patented. It's unique to the Neue Schule brand. You won't actually find it anywhere else. And again, through rider demand, initially we introduced the Tactio with a loose ring, but now we have it on a variety of fixed cheeks, dressage legal cheeks, and also a huge selection of cheeks for faster work. Here we have the Turtle Tactio balding gag. And we do have a couple of rein options. However, the cheek pieces would travel through these two rings, and we would attach one rein. And then we have the option of using the snaffle ring. I actually like to ride with two reins, and I do recommend it. because we can reward instantly once the horse has responded using the gag rein, and we can revert to our snaffle rein. Now this gives us a +3, which means that 30% of the force we're putting through the rein is actually going to travel up through the cheek piece and across the poll. But it's also going to travel to the corner of the lip as well. So it's very, very good for amplifying the rein aids if you have a really, really strong horse, or if you have a horse that's inclined to actually sort of, snatch and lean down, particularly pecking, deliberately after a fence, using that, really, really rooting in order to gain momentum. It can be very beneficial. The combination of the Turtle Tactio mouthpiece is good for tongue evasion. So if we have a horse, in order to gain ground, is going to draw the tongue back and push down actually on the mouthpiece, and we tend to find that that does eradicate that problem. And also if we have a horse with really narrow bars, we do have that smaller lozenge in the center, so it's a much more comfortable bit. And bear in mind, we often do source the Tactio if we have a horse that has a humongously big tongue that kind of spills through the bars, in order to promote comfort. Yes, we want the control, but we want the horse to be comfortable at the same time. So there we have it, the Turtle Tactio balding gag.